so we're a working board. But to beautify downtown, the flower baskets and all of the banners and Christmas stuff and lights and just helping our local businesses thrive. And as much as we can do to help them do the best that they can so that they can have very vibrant, active businesses. It means a lot to me because I grew up on First and High Street, just right up the block from downtown, and we'd walk downtown all the time. So I love our downtown. I think it's one of the cutest downtowns you can ever get.
Welcome to Shaping the Basin. I'm here with Jill Russell. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Heather. It's so good to be here.
Yeah. I invited you on because you're so involved in the community, but not just here in the community. You go like all over the nation for our community.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
So right now I'm serving as the president-elect for the Oregon Realtors. And I love serving my community of realtors just because private property rights are really important to me and that people get to be in homes. Generational wealth is built in homeownership. And we just want to make sure that anyone that can have a house does have a house. And so that's super important to me as well. So I do love my service in the state, but I love my community so much. And I do it mostly for my community to make sure that we have the best possible outcomes here.
Yeah. What kinds of things do you do in that role?
So many things. We do a lot of advocating, once again, for private property rights. And the greatest thing is it's not, as far as politics go, it's not a red issue or a blue issue. We're talking about housing. So when we go to the state capitol, or if we go and talk to our representatives in Washington, D.C., we're talking about private property rights and how to make sure that we're not disadvantaging homeowners and that we make sure we have opportunities for all to get into a home. So that is really tough right now with the interest rates being high. And so we're hoping that as things shake out, that will go down. But yeah, anything that we can do to get people into homes.
Yeah. Here in Klamath, what's the biggest barrier for people getting into homes?
Prices are tough. I think interest rates are really tough. And I think a lot of people don't understand that you don't need 20% down. So there's so many different programs and so many different ways that you can get into a home. So it's just important that people educate themselves and talk to a realtor. And it's like I said, just the greatest thing you can do is own a home.
Yeah. When you mentioned advocating in that role, what are some of the things you're working on right now? Are there specific issues or just in general?
So for the realtors, a lot of different things that we're advocating for. Capital gains tax right now, it's $250,000 on a home for a single and $500,000 for a married couple. That if you make more than that, then you're going to pay capital gains on the sale of your house. It doesn't happen much in Klamath Falls, but in Oregon especially, that could really impact some people, and they don't want to sell their house because they're going to have to pay taxes on the sale of that house. So I know at the national level, they're looking at increasing that to $500,000 and $1 million. We've been working really hard on that, our national representatives. So hopefully that'll pass. Flood insurance is always a giant issue because if they don't renew it, we even have a lot of flood properties here in Klamath Falls, which seems weird because we don't have too much water. But when they don't extend the flood insurance, it just jams everything up and you can't get those deals to close because without flood insurance, your lender won't let you you can't get the loan. Mm-hmm. So that's another big one. In the state, there's always things that happen. So they just really like to come at homeowners. So we had an issue here in Klamath with short-term rentals where they were going to limit the amount of days that you could use short-term rentals. Love our city and our county that they're willing to work with us to see how we can come together. So we came to a great solution on that. And there is permitting for short-term rentals now, but you don't have a limit on your days. And it's been very successful. And especially thanks to the city, because that was their idea, and it worked out great for everybody. So we're super happy when we can come together and work in partnership.
Yeah. Are you from Klamath?
I am not from Klamath. I'm from Nebraska, but I moved here I think I was 4.5. So I was here all the way until high school. and left to go to Oregon State. And I was never coming back because, you grow up here and it's not the greatest place. And then almost 1 years ago, Ryan and I moved back here when we got married. And I can't even tell you how great it is to live in this community. We're so fortunate.
Mm-hmm. And you're involved in a lot of things locally as well.
Yes.
Tell me about some of those.
I'm heavily involved with the Downtown Association, and I love that group. I think it's one of my favorite boards to work with because everyone works really hard, and they're all very engaged. So we're a working board. But to beautify downtown, the flower baskets and all of the banners and Christmas stuff and lights and just helping our local businesses thrive, and as much as we can do to help them do the best that they can so that they can have very vibrant, active businesses. It means a lot to me because I grew up on First and High Street, just right up the block from downtown, and we'd walk downtown all the time. So I love our downtown. I think it's one of the cutest downtowns you can ever get. There's so many great places to eat and shop. And so anything we can do to bring more people downtown to see what's there.
Yeah. When you're serving on a board like that, what kind of things do you do?
There are so many different facets. So there's grants that we try to go for, and we're really lucky to have Kendall Bell that's really good at writing grants. So we've gotten some great grants. We partner with the city. So with the flower baskets, we provide some services to the city. We put on the third Thursdays, which is a huge lift. They're great. And then last year we actually won an award for Fighter Friday, the small festival in the state of Oregon. So we're super excited about that. I think in the state of Oregon, it could be nationally, but I'm not sure. Yeah. So you'll have to talk to our executive assistant about that. And so just putting on those events, getting volunteers. We do some training for businesses. There's a design committee that works on all the designs downtown. We have all the mural projects that are happening, especially in partnership with Healthy Klamath. Mm-hmm. So it's so many different things. And like I said, I love this board because everyone's very strong and really wants to dig in and help. And there's always opportunities for volunteerism with us. So if you really love our downtown too, we'd love to have you.
Nice. How long have you been on that board?
That's a loaded question. I think 6 years. Yeah.
Have you been a member of the organization even longer?
No, actually, Kendall Bell asked me to join and run for the board, and I wasn't a member of the organization. And so I got kind of thrown in right away. And one of those things that, it's a happy accident that it happened, and I'm super happy that it did. And it's just a lot of fun.
Have you seen a lot of change even just in the last 6 years downtown?
Yeah, there's been a lot of facade grants that have happened. So you'll see that some of the buildings have gotten new windows in partnership with the city, new fronts on the buildings, just trying to help our business owners be able to improve what's down there so that when you're downtown, everything's really clean and neat and tidy. There are a few buildings that we'd love to help get cleaned up, but it's always tough because some of those have a lot of work to do and they take a lot of money, and things are not cheap right now to get things done. So, yeah,
it's true. What if somebody hasn't been on a board? Talk to us about board service. What do you think? If you were going to give like 3 pieces of advice to somebody brand new to a board, what would you tell them?
Well, I'm going to start off with what I tell everyone. And this is the reason I get so involved is if I'm going to complain about something, I either need to do something about it or I need to be quiet, because it doesn't do any good to complain to people if you're not willing to step up and be a part of the solution. So if there's something you're very passionate about and you feel that you have a calling for that, you need to find the right board. But the greatest thing about being on a board is that you have a group of individuals that are working together to solve a problem. So it's kind of like team sports. When you're little, you're not doing it on your own. You get a lot of different ideas from different members of the community. You get to find out a lot of different things about the community. So in being involved in a lot of things in Klamath Falls, I've gotten to know people that I would have never gotten to know just being an ordinary citizen. So I would say camaraderie. I would say getting to know other things that are happening. Our community is so vibrant right now, and so many things are going on, and not even all of us that are super involved know. So we've got so many wins happening right now. I'd love to see everyone get a little more involved. So the Ross Raglan board, the downtown board, there's all sorts of different the chamber board for you. Just getting involved in any little way. And it doesn't take a lot of time, especially if you're a newer board member. It's, a meeting, I think we're once a month. Not all boards are once a month. I know some are a little fewer. So it really doesn't take a ton of time, and you get to learn something new about our community.
Mm-hmm. Have you been on other boards locally?
Actually, yes. I have been a member of the Realtors, the Klamath County Association of Realtors board. Um, I've never been on the Ross Raglan board. My husband was. And then I also served for, and I'm not going to remember the name. So, Oregon Workforce on their board.
Okay.
And that was really interesting too. So, yeah. And then I had to finally, my husband said 1 or 2 boards only at a time. So we're not at 2. And so that's good. And then the state boards have been really great too, to get to know people all throughout the state. So as a realtor, it's great because I've got great realtor partners everywhere in the state. And it's always nice to be able to send clients somewhere that I know, love, and trust.
It's easy to get lost. Don't know which path to take, what to post. In the social media jungle, video is king. Your kids are obsessed, your customers are addicted, we're all hooked, and social media sites prioritize videos. So when you're ready to stand out from the crowd, reach out to 40 Deuce Films. Feeling over everything.
And I think, I know my experience with, I was on the state chamber board for a little bit. I also loved learning from other communities and seeing if there's things that could work here. Do you find that happens sometimes?
Yeah, all the time, especially like with Jen going to different things with the downtown association. All the downtowns do things a little bit differently. And so you're always bringing back a nugget. With real estate, there's always different ideas and different issues. So going back to that advocacy role, it's crazy the issues that happen in Portland that wouldn't happen in Klamath Falls or Roseburg. Just learning what could be coming down the pike and making sure that we're preparing to fight things that are bad in the state of Oregon, and also put in place things that really work. So yeah, those partnerships are great. And then just being able to talk to your legislators in person, because they have so many things to think about, over the grand scheme of things. I think there were over 4,000 bills in the long session last year. They're not going to be experts at anything. So making sure that they understand just a little piece of what you're trying to advocate for is really important. And stories, especially for our elected officials, are so important, because if you tell them a story about someone that's impacted, they're more likely to listen to you than just having you not be happy with them, or, so it's just telling those stories that help them understand how important things are.
Yeah. And I know you're really involved in a lot of the legislative stuff, and hopefully it's okay to say this, but sometimes that feels really ugly in our world right now. So how do you stay engaged with that and stay out of feeling yucky about politics?
Tough sometimes not to feel yucky. We've talked about this, but I think the most important thing is that you need to know what a candidate's going to do, and all that other stuff is noise. So just trying to drown out, our national elections are gross. And so just trying to drown out all the bad noise and then educate yourself. There's so many avenues to go out and research and really get to know. Go to any of our local forums and listen to the candidates. It's shocking how much you can learn if you go and just listen to all of them talk. Mm-hmm. It really does help. So get involved and be there and be an informed voter. And I think that kind of drowns out some of the nastiness, but just try to stay positive, because they really are here to try to help our community, here to try to help our state. Sometimes it doesn't always feel that way, but I think every legislator has the best intentions going in. Sometimes they just don't have the best information.
Right. I think it ties back to something I think you said earlier. I think there's a connection there about staying focused on the problem that you're trying to solve and sharing a story or what it means. I think that there's a lot. That's what I do when I go to Salem, is try to focus on, like, we agree this is an issue. We may disagree on how we're getting there, but maybe if I share this. So,
well, and especially if it impacts their constituents, they really do want to help.
Yeah.
I mean, I had an issue where I lost my insurance and I had an open claim. And unfortunately, one of our state legislators gave me her cell phone number. So I was able to call her personally, which was not great of me. But I can't tell you how helpful she was in that process. And to see government work in a way that really is helpful really does give you a different side of it, because we're always hearing about all the bad stuff.
Mhm.
So to have someone work that hard, and I'm going to call her out right now, Emily McIntyre, she was amazing. So Rep McIntyre, thank you. But just knowing that they do want to help, they want to get things done for us. And sometimes it doesn't always work that way, but this is one of those instances where it worked beautifully, and they were able to help me get through our open claim and keep insurance, and that was amazing. So thanks, Emily.
Nice.
Mhm.
Is there something you've really worked on on a legislative level that you're really, really proud of? Tell me a story, Jill.
Well, and there's so many stories. I haven't been as involved with the state association. So we have a governmental affairs committee, and I haven't been on that committee in quite a while. So haven't been as plugged in. And so I'll give a shout out to our governmental affairs committee for the Oregon Realtors. They really do the heavy lifting, and they go through all those bills. And I think it is just so important to get involved.
Yeah. If somebody is out there and they don't know how to get involved, because I think that's part of the problem, right? Is
Mhm.
I've been fortunate with my time at the chamber that it kind of comes with the ability to easily jump into a network and start networking. But for other people that are out there, how do they get involved?
Well, most boards have committees,
Mhm.
and committees are the best place to start. So um, pick an avenue that you're really passionate about. For me, downtown. Um, and then you can get on one of the committees. And so you're not in charge of anything.
Mhm.
You get to be a worker bee. You get to learn a little more about the organization and just really put your time in there. And then as you get involved, you find out more facets of what are available. So you can actually move to what draws your passion. And I would say always go to where you're passionate, because then it doesn't feel like work. It feels like you're just doing something great. And I think for all of us that serve, that feeling of doing something good for our community is what really drives us. And so yeah, just get involved on a committee. I think it's that easy. And if you don't know anyone, you can always call the executive director of any of our local organizations. So, if you want to get involved in the chamber, call Heather and her team. If you want to get involved with the downtown association, call Jen. Um, and there's so many other things. KCETA, they do such great work in our community. And so just get involved. And most of our organizations put on really fun parties. So if you like to plan parties, there's that aspect of it too. So there's always something, cleanup days. So just get involved in any little way. Get involved with your church. Get involved with the school.
Mhm.
So yeah, anything.
Yeah. Why does downtown matter so much to you?
I think because I grew up in, I mean, literally grew up downtown. So we shopped at the local Safeway downtown. We ate at Wong's and all the restaurants downtown. And so my first 16 years of my life, 17, 18, were spent wandering around downtown and being downtown. And um, I just have so many fond memories of growing up and being there. So, and right now we've got such good stores and so many good restaurants downtown. And it's just really fun to see people thrive and see our downtown thrive, and not that many vacant buildings, which is great. And so I just recommend everyone get out and support all of our businesses downtown so that they can thrive and be successful, because they draw in a lot of tourism.
Mhm.
And it's also fun to see people from out of town, and they love us
Yeah.
so much. Yeah. So
Our
that's
downtown is
why
pretty cool. You went to high school here.
I did it.
If you were in downtown, did you go to KU?
I did.
What was that like?
Loved
Yeah.
Loved everything about it. I was in sports and I was a band nerd. So I would say KU is great.
Sports and band?
Well, band for a couple of years, and then
Yeah. And then
sports. Yeah.
What'd you play?
Soccer and golf, kind of dabbled around in some other things, but those were my two passions.
Do you still play golf?
Not well, but I like to play. Yes. I used to be really good, but
Nice.
not anymore.
Did they cruise downtown when you were in high
Yes.
school? Was there cruising still allowed? Because it's not allowed
It's not
now
allowed anymore,
right?
and it's probably good. I was in Houston for a meeting, and actually they had kiddos cruising around the downtown corridor where all the hotels were, and they were super loud and a little crazy. So as a grown up, I would hate it, but as a kid, it was so much fun to just go down and see all your friends and
Was it like a
roll
loop?
around.
I was just thinking about this for some reason over the weekend. So did they like loop around? Was it still one way? Was it
A lot of
one-ways
things were
back
one
then?
way, but yeah, it was one way. So you just go down Main and back up Klamath.
Back
and
up Klamath
Mhm.
over and over. Did all the schools cruise down there?
I think there had to have been from all the different ones. I don't know. And mom and dad, I didn't do it. Um, no,
Did the schools all get along, or has there been like a big rivalry? Was it? Do you
I think
remember?
there are rivalries when it comes to sporting events, but I had friends at all the schools. So I think, especially now, I don't know that everyone's just kind of one big, muddle of people. I think with the sports, there's huge rivalries just with Henley and KU and soccer. I know, like it's crazy, and super fun to watch. But yeah, I think everyone kind of gets along.
You might ask yourself, when is the best time to start saving for retirement? The answer is simple. It's today. Dan Hernandez, your Klamath Falls Edward Jones financial advisor, is here to help. He will work with you to help build a plan for your ideal retirement by identifying your unique goals and help you keep on track to achieve them. The sooner you get started, the better. Call Dan Hernandez at 541-273-7132 to schedule an appointment today. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
A friend and I were talking about cruising back in the day. I didn't grow up here. We were talking about how fun cruising was.
Oh,
It's funny that you say you'd hate it now, because I'm like, man, I want to cruise. I feel like we should have like adult cruise, just cruise down on.
yeah.
I think Downtown Association should plan that.
Oh, that's kind of an interesting and fun.
I mean, I know we have the Cruise of Klamath, which is cool. I mean, I love that event, but I don't know.
Yeah,
it'd be kind of fun to
it might be
cruise.
kind of fun. Yeah, we're trying to come up with all sorts of
you
different
across
events.
from cars.
Yeah, if we had more volunteers, there's so many more things that we want to do. We want to do wine walks and pub crawls and all of that, but you kind of are limited to the scope of what you can handle with the board and the volunteers that you have. So as we're trying to figure it all out, but yeah, we put on a lot of events. So just adding one more would be a little crazy.
You know what? Actually, that leads me to a question I want to ask about Third Thursday.
Yeah.
How much time does that take? Because I think the most of the world think you show up, it's that day, it's done. What is it?
It does. It takes a lot of time. And I know Jen works tirelessly because people have to sign up and give insurance and all of those things, and the vendors and where the vendors go. So all the work that goes up before it. And then you have to make sure you have porta potties, and you have to make sure that you have the barriers and police presence. And so there's so many things that go, months. We start in January planning and get kind of done right before that first Third Thursday in June. And so, yeah, it's a ton of work, and we rely heavily on volunteers on the day of. So to help with the barricades, to help make sure people are safe, to make sure that the vendors know where they're going. Because even if you have a map, it's a little hard to figure out where you're supposed to be. So just being down there and making sure everyone gets to be, they get to be where they're supposed to be. And then it's tough too, because sometimes vendors aren't exactly where they want to be, but we kind of have to make it fair for everybody and put things where we think they need to be. So you don't always get to be where you want to be, but so it's a ton of work. Of work.
Yeah. Do you have any idea how many volunteers help with that regularly, like an average?
I would say anywhere from 20 to 50, depending on who we can get. We've had high schools help us in the past. We've had just lots of different groups. So we're always looking. And then Pacific Crest has always been really good, and Rogue to help us out. And just, any churches that want to help, anything, we'd love the help on those 3 nights.
More volunteers so we can have more things downtown. That's what
more volunteers. Yeah. And that's how you can get involved. Just volunteer. Yeah. And I think for any of the organizations, I think we're always looking for volunteers to help us. So
do you feel like volunteerism is up or down in our community?
I'm going to say, I give tours of the community. I'm going to say that we are one of the most involved communities I've ever lived in, and I've lived in quite a few. So we do have a lot of volunteers and we have a lot of people that truly care about this community. And I love how philanthropic this community is. You don't see it in bigger cities where so many people are trying to move the ball forward and make this a better place. So I feel Klamath is super special that we have so many people that are passionate about our town and want to see it thrive. And over the years, I think we take, a few steps forward and a couple steps back, and we all just keep fighting to get the best community possible to make sure we're doing all that we can. And so I will say we're super lucky here. And I'm really proud of our community that everyone kind of throws in their hands and does what they can.
Yeah. Those years that you were gone
Mhm.
and you didn't live here, what were some of the biggest changes you saw when you came back? How long were you gone?
I've thought about that. I think anywhere from 11 to 13 years, I was with the Macy's Corporation and kind of wandering the desert Southwest. So being in Phoenix and Las Vegas and Palm Springs, missed trees. So just being back, seeing trees again was great. We grew a lot when I was gone. But then kind of the housing recession happened and things we took a really big step back in this community. So it's really fun right now to see houses being fixed up and to see downtown buildings being fixed up and to see like even just having Winco Foods, something new and fun. And there's so many fun things happening here and that continue to happen. So I love it. Yeah.
You, I didn't think about this, but you said you moved back 21 years ago. So it would have been right around the Great Recession,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
That was a crazy time. I started at the chamber that year.
Yeah.
That was a weird time to be in Klamath.
Yes, it was.
It's changed a lot since then. I remember we used to like sit around the table and talk about how do we get people to shop downtown,
Right.
and how do we fill those empty buildings?
Yeah.
And now they're full.
Yeah.
For the most part. And people are shopping.
They are. And shopping local.
Yeah.
That's so important too. I forget to tell people that, but just making sure you put your money back into the community, really important.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Amazon is our favorite and we all order stuff and that's okay. Can't get everything in Klamath, but.
Well, I think the conversation around shopping local has been a lot based on like, oh, that's who sponsors your sports teams and that's really important, but I find it more enjoyable.
Yeah.
I mean, I do like shopping from the comfort of my couch, but I love knowing the shop owners.
Yes.
And like going in and shopping with friends, it feels like.
Well, and I get bigger compliments on stuff I buy here. Yeah. With my state friends. They're like, where did you find that? I'm like, in Klamath Falls. So it is a little bit of a flex that we do have really good shopping and we have really unique items because we're boutiques. We're not department stores. So that's pretty awesome.
You might not want to answer this question, but do you have a favorite store downtown?
No,
you can't answer that.
No, I actually really try to spread it around, but I find things at every single store. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's treasures everywhere.
Yes.
So I cannot pick a favorite store downtown. That would be awful for me to do anyway, but no, I can't because between my husband and I, we both have our little favorite places, a lot of different places. And then we truly try a couple times a year to go down and just to make sure we're putting money out into the community. Yeah. So we call it the sprinkle day where we go down and sprinkle some money around and make sure that we're supporting our local businesses. And it's a super fun day for us because we'll go get lunch and wander and yeah.
And you can even do that in the winter because the sidewalks are heated.
Well, yes, they are. And stocking stuffers is always my favorite sprinkle day because then we just go and find all the local, really fun, different things that are there.
Mm-hmm. That's when people tell me there's nowhere to shop. I'm like, I spend a whole day. We have a whole bus that we take people around shopping. Know. I can show you how to shop here if you want to.
Unfortunately, I know how to shop here. And so I spent quite a bit of money downtown, but it's great.
I like it. I appreciate your time today.
Yeah.
So much. And I appreciate everything you do in the community.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. If I gave you $250,000 to make a difference today in our community, what would you do with it?
That's really easy for me. Rehabbing houses that can't be lent on. So making sure that we're taking some of these houses that you can't get a loan for because they're in such bad repair, fixing them up so that someone could get a loan on them and have a smaller, great place to live, I think would be where my heart and passion would be. And I know we've got a lot of people in our community doing that, but it's just really it hurts my heart when we've got houses that people really want and they can't get a loan on it. And so they can't buy it. And so, yeah, I would put that all back into housing and try to fix things up so that people could actually get a loan and have a place to live.
I love that. Do you have a role model?
I have so many role models. I've been very fortunate to have a lot of great mentors in my life. Um, Deborah Gizrael from Fisher Nicholson has just been awesome in my real estate career. Um, my favorite role model, and this is awful because I can't remember her name, but when I worked for the Macy's Corporation, she came in and she was a new manager for us. And none of us really liked her. And I was having a feud with another manager and it was pretty ugly and we did not get along. And our new manager made us go to lunch. And she said, I don't want you to come back until you guys come back and tell me how you're going to work this out between you. And very uncomfortable. Turns out we were very similar and we had lots in common. And after that day, we were the best of friends, but just getting past those, what you perceive. So she was pivotal in my life to remember that someone's always going through something that you don't know that what they're going through, that it's more important to talk through your differences one-on-one. Other people aren't going to solve your problems for you. And so that's been a great lesson in my adult life that I've tried to move forward, that just be kind, know that people are going through stuff that you don't know, and just talk through issues. And I wish that our politicians could talk through issues right now, but to get on the other side of it. So that, and then there's hundreds of role models, mentors. So yeah, I can't bring them all up, but yeah.
Love that. I feel like I'm going to know the answer to this, but if somebody came in from out of town and you were planning the perfect day in Klamath County, what would it look like?
Is it recreational?
Recreational.
Oh gosh. I think getting up and doing a hike in Moore Park. One of my favorite hikes is to go up to the cross at the top of Moore Park, and you get to see the lake and all of our beauty, 360-degree view of how gorgeous this town is. Go downtown for lunch, go shopping a little bit, and then there's gosh, that's tough. Yeah. Kayaking up at Rocky Point, fishing, getting on my pontoon boat and showing them the eagles out on Eagle Ridge. Yeah, we've got a million things you can do here, but we're very fortunate to be able to just get on trail and have our dogs off lead and run. So
yeah,
so many things. And then dinners everywhere. There's so many good dinners.
There is. Mm-hmm. And we're a pretty dog friendly community, which is really nice. So there's even a couple of dog parks in a couple places and stuff. So
yes,
good.
Which are great because my big dumb dog needs to run around and get rid of energy, but I love him.
I love it. Thank you for your time today.
Yes,
I appreciate it. We'll see you soon.
Really fun.
And thank you to our producer, 40 Deuce Films.